We're going to begin creating the application, and for it we're going to proceed to create a new project selecting the template .NET Maui app. We're going to indicate that the application is called, for example, Hangman. Click on Create to create this project. Once the application has been created, let's start defining the upper graphical user interface part of the application. We're going to place some controls with static text for the moment, and later we're going to create properties to bind them through data binding. Let's reuse this page called main page to avoid creating a new content page, and I will proceed to remove all the content, that is, remove the scroll view. Subsequently, as part of the content page, we will create a layout grid and define a set of rows. Let's specify that the first row occupies 60% of space and the second row occupies 40% of space. This is because at the top, which is going to be the first row definition, we're going to have the set of graphical user interface controls, and this second row is going to be used to place the different buttons that are going to allow us to select the letters. Once we have done this, let's proceed to define a label control. Let's set some properties such as font attributes equal to bold, center the label control, and finally assign a text equal to errors 0 of 6. This label will allow us to show the user how many errors he or she has made in the game. To see the changes in the graphical interface, I'm going to start the execution of the application, but first I will correct this problem that Visual Studio is marking us. We're going to remove the event handler that is created by default, and once we have solved this problem, let's proceed to test the application. Once the application is initialized, we can see the label control at the top of the application. If you remember, the set of controls that I showed you in the final application were displayed vertically. To recreate this, I'm going to proceed to add a layout type vertical stack layout, and inside I'm going to rearrange this control label since I want to place more elements under the control. Then we're going to indicate that we want a control type image, and we're going to set a source that is equal to. To complete this property, I'm going to import the set of images that we will use in the game. I'm going to drag the images into the folder called images, and it's this set of images that are going to allow us to show the user how many times they've failed in the game. Once we've done this, let's indicate that we want to position the 0 image as the initial image, and we're going to use the JPJ extension so that this will work on all platforms. I will proceed to start once again the execution of the application, which I had to stop it because I added new resources to the application. With this, we can see the image being displayed as part of the application, only that the image looks a little big. Therefore, I will assign HeyRequest equal to 200 units. And with that change, the image has been rescaled. The next step is to define a label control that will allow us to display what is the word that will be guessed. Let's create a label control. Let's set a font size equal to 40. Horizontal options equal to center, and let's place a text to show what would be the fictitious word to guess. We can place an underscore followed by a space to represent a character. I will assign vertical options equal to center. Once we have done this, we can already see the label control that will display what will be the word to be guessed. And in the case of simulating a guessed word, we can change an underscore for a Z, for example. And we would already see the control simulating a guessed letter. The next step is to add the label control to display messages to the user. In this case, let's use another label control. Let's place its font size equal to large, horizontal text alignment equal to center, and as text, let's place some message like "you lost." Let's close the label, save the changes, and now we can see the label that shows this message to the user. Finally, let's add a button, which will allow us to reset the game when needed. For it, after the label control, let's place a button control, specifying horizontal options equal to center, the property text equal to reset, and finally a width request to establish a width equal to 100 units. Let's save the changes, and we can already see the button. In this way, we have defined the upper part of the application with static strings in each of the controls, which will allow us to define the visual appearance. Later, we will replace these strings with dynamic text thanks to data binding.